Hello, lever fanatics. Today I've got something a little different. Today we're going to do some maintenance on this Ponte Vecchio lever espresso machine. And specifically, I'm going to show you how to take out the piston, which is inside the brew head or the brew group here. Now, a couple of safety things. You want to make sure your machine is off and cooled down. You want to release all the steam pressure, and I take off the cap just to make sure that there's nothing, no pressure inside, because when you take out the piston, if you have pressure in there, you're going to get a lot of very, very hot water coming out. Now, the question is, how often do you have to remove the piston to lubricate the gaskets or replace the gaskets? And to be honest, I'm not really sure. I did a lot of research before I bought this machine, and there were users on some of the forums who said they had never changed the gaskets. In fact, they had gone 5, 6, 7 years in some cases without changing the gaskets. And their secret, which I think makes a lot of sense, is never operate your machine when it's off or when it's cold. You always want to make sure that when you pull the lever down, you have some nice hot water to come in, lubricate the inside of the brew chamber and the gaskets. And the problem, they say, is when you run it dry. So if you're showing off your machine to someone and it's not on, not ready not up to temperature, don't go and pull down on the lever. If you have kids, you might want to watch out for that too. This can be very, very tempting to operate and to pull down, especially when it's off. So I don't know. I think what I like to do is to take out the piston probably once a year, either lubricate it, maybe put new gaskets on. Doesn't actually seem like it needs gaskets that often, but it's actually fairly easy to do as long as you have the right tools. So here are the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a screwdriver. This is to take out the shower screen, and you're going to want to protect it. I just have some duct tape on here because you're going to be prying out the shower screen. You're probably going to want a tiny screwdriver because there is a clip here that you need to remove. You'll want some food grade lubricant. This is Dow 111. And most importantly, you're going to need a way to remove the piston. And this is actually, can be kind of difficult because the piston has to come out through the bottom. Now there is a great tool from Ponte Vecchio. You have to buy it separately, but this portafilter has a screw and you can put it in and raise your piston, remove the bolt that's holding it, lower it down, take it off, and then reverse the process. Makes it really easy. But this thing is about $130. And again, I'm not sure how often you really need to change this unless you have a leak or you have seals that have worn out. And the way you'll know is when you turn it on, you'll have water leaking out. And that's a sign that you actually do need to change the gaskets or the seals in here. And there's 3 of them. So I don't know. I wish Ponte Vecchio just included this. I can see why they don't. But for about $130, you can pick up one of these things. And if you are going to be using your machine a lot, I would recommend actually buying it. Now, there is a cheaper alternative. If you don't want to do that, you could get something like this. This is called a machinist jack. And you might have seen one of these before, but it's like a mini car jack, and it's about 20 bucks, maybe $30. And it's a very simple device. You can turn this and it will raise the jack, and you can screw it back down to lower the jack. And same thing, you will put it under here. You'll use this to raise the piston up slightly. You just need to move it up a little bit so you can remove this bolt, take the pressure off, and then lower it and drop the piston out. So either one of these things, I'll put a link to this, although I think these are pretty common. And again, they're probably $20, $25, and they work really well. So we're going to make it easy though on ourselves, and we're going to use the Ponte Vecchio tool. So I'm going to take out the drip tray, since you're going to need the clearance. And first thing we're going to do is let's remove this little clip. Actually, my clip is so loose on here that I think I can just take it off with my fingers. It's a tiny little C-clip. There it is. Came right off. See that? Put that aside so we don't lose it. And now we're going to take the screwdriver and we're just going to pop off the shower screen. And usually if you put the screwdriver in the notch where you lock in the portafilter, it's going to come off fairly easily. This is press fit, and so and it's made out of kind of a spring. There we go. So I got the gasket, which goes in between the portafilter, and here's the shower screen. Well, kind of dirty. It does get a little beat up. I've mostly from when you first get it, it's new, and so it is kind of stuck on. But after a couple of removals, it does pop right off. So now we have, let's see if I can show you. I'll move this camera down and you can see well, maybe not really inside, but down at the bottom here, there is the piston. And we're going to remove that right now. So let me set this back up. So I have two hands free. I'm going to use the tool to remove the piston. I'm going to first you unscrew it, and then you just lock in the portafilter and screw it up. As you raise that screw, if you watch up here, let's see, let me move this. If you watch the lever, you'll see the lever start to move down as if the piston is being activated, which it is because you're moving it up. Now that's going to take tension off this bolt here. I can remove the bolt and the handle. So now nothing is holding this piston in. The spring is somewhat compressed, not fully compressed, but it does have some pressure. So you got to be a little bit careful. I'm going to undo this screw all the way, or fairly far. And you can see the piston starting to move down. And basically, you're just taking all that energy out of the spring as you do this. Now, you don't have to take it all the way down. It's actually not under a ton of pressure. So if I turn this, there we go. And here is the famous piston. So here's the spring. This is what's giving us all that wonderful 7, 8 bar of pressure that we need to brew delicious coffee. Here's the stainless steel and brass, I think, piston. A little dirty on the bottom. Taking off the shower screen with it installed, you could, of course, clean it. And here are the 3 seals. And these are replaceable. You can peel these out and you can buy replacement seals and put them on. And again, you really only need to change them if you're getting a water leak. And with good care and not running it when it's dry or when the machine's not on, you shouldn't have to do that very often. I'm just going to get a paper towel and wipe this down. And I will put a little bit of the silicone, or of the moly coat on, since I have this off. You don't need very much, just a little bit on your finger. Just rub it around on the seals. And you can also put it on the shaft a little. And there we go. That's all it takes. Now to reinstall it, we're going to do exactly the same thing, just in reverse. I might take this opportunity to just wipe this down. You can wipe the inside if you want, but these machines get pretty dirty, a lot of use. I'll put the spring back on. Always remember to put the spring on. Now there's one special component that comes with the Ponte Vecchio tool, and that's this little sleeve. And this sleeve is really helpful because when you reinstall your piston, one of the things is that this middle seal, because its flange is faced up, can sometimes get hooked on the lip here. and cause it to deform or not go in. And you'll know as you try to screw it in, it'll get really tough and really difficult. This helps a lot. This keeps the seal compressed a little bit and allows it to go in much easier. It's still something you got to be careful of. Okay, let's reinstall the piston. As you can see, there is a flat side that you want to make sure is facing forward. And to reinstall it, we're just going to load it into the tool. And we have the ring here that will keep the seals or the gaskets nice and compressed. Make sure they fit in straight. Forgot about that. It's kind of long when you have it all assembled. Let me put this in first. And it actually slides very easily up until you reach the point where the first seal hits. You just want to make sure that you have the flat side facing forward. You'll be able to rotate it a little as you put it in, but the closer you can get it to the right orientation, the better. All right, we lock in the portafilter. Now it's just a matter of twisting and tightening this. And as you tighten it, you'll see the stem of the piston start to move up. But you got to be a little bit careful in feeling when one of the seals, if it hangs up, and you'll know it is because you'll start to tighten and nothing will happen. You won't see any movement. And if that happens, you just loosen it up, take it out, reseat it, and try again. We seem to be doing well. You can see the piston coming up. The gaskets are fairly inexpensive, and so it's always good idea to have a set on hand because if the gasket goes bad, you're going to have water leaking out. It's going to be very hard to make coffee. And with one of these tools, you'll be able to fix that in a couple of minutes. But if you don't have replacement gaskets, then you're going to have to wait for that to be shipped out. And that's going to hold you back from making your repair. Okay, so we got the hole from the stem. And you're going to want to bring it up so that it's just about level. Maybe just a little higher, same way in which you took it off. You're going to want to reinstall the handle or the lever. Okay, so there we go. Now, this flat piece is slightly crooked. You can stick a screwdriver in and twist it. It does move a little, so I can line it up straight. Put the handle in. And this part, you may have to jiggle a little. Sometimes it helps to raise the piston a little higher if it's not going in after sort of jiggling around for a little while. And you can always pull it back out. Check the alignment. And let's see. I think, there we go. Just want to make sure you don't do it upside down. I have put in the levers upside down before, and it looks really funny because one lever will be higher than the other. Let me see if I can get a good view from this side. Okay, it should be going in. Nothing, it is slightly twisted. Let me move it just a little bit. There we go. These things are precision instruments, so there we go. Perfect. Just needed a little bit of movement. Now, make sure I can find my clip. And again, this clip has been well used, so just kind of slides right back on. You'll notice when you have tension on this, you won't really need to worry about the clip. All right, so now we're going to just take the pressure off. I can take the portafilter out. There we go. We have it completely reinstalled. Only thing left to do is put in our shower screen, which I should probably take time to clean with a little paper towel. Just wipe off some of that old coffee. I don't know how this compares to other lever machines, but this machine runs fairly clean. I know compared to my Gaggia, especially my super automatic, oh my gosh, that thing was so dirty when you would clean it. Now, it did have a lot of parts and a lot of nooks and crannies where things could get lodged in. So it's not quite apples to apples, but I do love the simplicity of this machine and how easy it is to clean and service. All right, I'm going to just take this opportunity to put some lubrication on the gasket for the portafilter. You'll notice there is a ridge area. I think that just forms when you lock in the portafilter, creates a nice airtight seal. So make sure that's facing the right way. And then you just use some finger pressure to pop on the shower screen. I don't know if you heard it, but there was a click. And there we go. We are done. Now, let me give you one quick tip if you were to use the mechanics vise. I tried to figure out a way to do this that was sort of the minimal amount of work. And one of the things I discovered is that if you take your drip tray, turn it upside down, you have a nice platform that's just right for putting on the vise or the jack. And so I would put a piece of cardboard probably on both sides just to protect it. I think this is fairly soft metal, so I don't think it would hurt your piston, but it doesn't hurt to put a small piece of cardboard on it. And same with the bottom. I mean, if you care about marking the bottom of your drip tray. And again, all you would do is run this up, push it up until you saw the stem come up a little bit, take this out, and run it down. You do have to be a little careful. You want to make sure everything's stable, because if it does slip, you know, the piston is under some pressure and will come out with some force, but it's not fully compressed. So all you need to do is move it down just a little, and you'll be able to tell that you've taken most of that resistance out of it, and wind it down, pull it out, and it'll come right out. And again, this is much, much cheaper. So if you don't think you're going to be changing your seals except in emergencies, when they go bad, this is probably all you need. But if you do want to make changing gaskets, changing seals, cleaning the inside of your brood chamber, then highly, highly recommend picking up one of this. And this is made by Ponte Vecchio. Other lever machines have different styles of brood chambers. Some of them are easier to clean, much easier to disassemble than this, but this thing is bulletproof. It's super strong. There's no screws or holes in it to weaken it. It's a very solid piece of stainless steel, which is something that I think is really good for the Ponte Vecchio. So, all right, kind of a long video, but I hope this helps. I hope this at least gives you an idea of how you can change the gaskets of your piston. Hopefully you never have to do it, but if you do, just know it's not that bad. It's actually something that you can do quite easily and on your own. All right, until next time, keep remembering the best espresso you drink is going to be the one that you pour.